Royce Jones from that same group, David Lasley and Joanne Harris, or Myrna Matthews, Ashford and Simpson, Vivian Cherry, and Hilda Harris on backing vocals behind Dennis himself, who performed lead on that song in the style of David Pack from the pop group Ambrosia to create the American sweet soul pop sound So Natural, So Right. So in that song, we as backing singers wanted to sing the whole bridge together in perfect harmony. Let me isolate those backing vocals first of all.
Ooh, you wait a long time for me. Ooh, you wait a long time. Ooh, you wait a long time for me.
Now here's my friend Dennis Englewood singing his Philly Sweet Soul ballad version of this song.
I knew it. I knew you couldn't fool me like that. We were so close. I know that you care about me.
Wait a minute, baby. Now, what I meant was, I wasn't lying to you all the time. I did kind of go for you.
What?
I don't like having to tell you these things, baby, but you don't give me any choice because you're just not getting it. I admit I had lied to you when I said that I didn't feel anything for you. I did feel something for you. But it was never like what you felt for me. It was never like that.
What are you saying?
You wooed me, baby. I mean, you were always there looking so pretty. With those eyes. I mean, a man with more principles might have been able to walk away, but I just couldn't do it.
Are you saying that you used me?
I don't know, man alive who wouldn't want to be near someone like you, have someone like you to cuddle up to at night. You always look so pretty. So sexy. You gotta admit you did kind of push yourself on me.
I kept after you because I believed in you. In us. And what we have together.
What we have together. Come on, baby, we had fun together. You have enough fun and then things start to get a little stale and then it's time to move on. Don't look at me like that, baby. I never really wanted to hurt you. It's just that you've had a problem getting the message.
Yeah. Well, I've got it now. Loud and clear.
It's just a silly phase I'm going through. And just because I call you up, don't get me wrong, don't think you've got it made. No. It's because I'd like to see just because. Hurts all because we stand worlds apart.
Kevin said, why don't we do it almost a cappella, using totally, for the backing track, totally voices, all voices, not Beach Boys type of voices, just a wall of sound. I said, yeah, and how are we going to do that? And it was Lowell who came up with the idea of making tape loops that we could run ad infinitum, forever. We'd just run them. So we spent another 3 weeks then recording 3 guys, Kev, Lowell and Graham, just singing R in the studio onto the 16-track machine. Each note had 16 tracks of 3 people, if you've got your calculator there, and we had to record a chromatic scale of 12 voices that would fit any chord in the song. We put the tape loops around this Stewart stereo machine and then out to mic stands with little rollers on the top, so the tape would run through there and we could tension the machine properly. Then I fed across to the 16-track machine and filled each of the 12 tracks with a separate note of these masked vocals. So I think eventually there were 256 voices on these tracks. And at the same time, we'd recorded a very, very simple backing track, stereo backing track, with me on electric piano, little rhythm guitar, and Kevin playing a bass drum on a Moog synthesizer, just to follow it.
I'm not in love, so don't forget it. It's just a silly phase I'm going through.
The 4 of us actually got around the control desk and started to feed the chords as they were changing within the song, up and down with the faders. And whilst we were doing that, I'd locked all the faders with a piece of gaffer tape, so they're all around about minus 24 on the faders. But because it was a chromatic scale, there was this lovely sort of hissing, breathy sound, like when you walk in a concert hall and people are just talking very quietly, but there's this wonderful hiss.
All of which probably explains why nothing had ever sounded quite like that record before, had it?
It was a milestone in recording. The production was absolutely beautiful, and the process that they went through to create this epic record was incredible, bearing in mind the time. This is 34 years ago that this record was made. So a lot of the techniques that were used on this record were done for the very, very first time, especially the vocals. Now, as Eric mentioned, the vocals were recorded individually across the 16 tracks and then bounced down. Now luckily, at the very, very front of this multitrack, there's the remnants of one of the tracks. So this is actually what one of the multitracked voice loops actually sounded like. So if I isolate that first, and that very slight blip you can hear, that's where the splice would have been in the loop. So although you can actually hear the loop as it goes through with the splice point, in this case, when you had the other 11 added, all at different splice points, the loop point would have been inaudible. So now if we start the actual multitrack up, you can hear what Eric was talking about, this sound that does sound like you're entering a cathedral or some hallowed space. And what what we're hearing is a result of them playing the mixing console as if it was a keyboard come instrument. So each fader had one particular note on it. So putting, say, 3 or 4 faders up would create a chord. And as they knew what the chord progression of the song was, they could go through it bit by bit. They could, of course, drop in and out of the stereo track that I'm now playing to correct any errors in their mixing. So this final track is a result of all those man-hours of work. It's absolutely beautiful. The other addition is that there's a second track of the same thing but played at half speed, so that creates this low octave. This is particularly noticeable on the bit where it goes ha 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 ha. And you can hear both the high original pitched vocals and the low octave vocals.
So Eric's using his half-speed trick again, which he obviously likes. I don't remember another record that starts off with the vocals being produced and then you playing along with it. But this seems to have started with just the vocals.
That's right, they created a guide backing track just to make sure they mixed the vocals in the right sections with the right balances. But once they had their correct vocal track, they then proceeded in the control room, which creates a very, very different atmosphere, played in the control room